Game, he had 12 sacks. He has yet to get a sack today. So that'll be first down for the Rams. That's, you know, that's really a lot of frustration. So Van Waiters get a penalty and now Dolman get a penalty. They want to get back in the game. They recognize that they're the Vikings, that they're a fine defensive team. They shouldn't be having trouble with this Ram offense, but they are. Just a little frustration is what you're seeing.
Ball is positioned at the 45 of the Rams, 1st and 10. 6:35 left in the ball game. Reposition the football, a better spot that time by about maybe 3 inches.
You never know. Sometimes it comes down to inches. They say this is a game of inches. That 3 inches could be key.
Won't argue with you now. Pagel pumps. Going up top, looking for Flipper Anderson. Incomplete. No flags on the play. Audrey McMillan was right there as well. Next Sunday, there's regional action right here on CBS Sports. Games on tap include Detroit against Green Bay or Minnesota against Philadelphia. That's followed by Dallas against Denver or Washington against the New York Giants. And your day has to start, of course, with the NFL today at 12:30 Eastern Time, right here on CBS.
JP, Minnesota at Philadelphia, you got two big defensive greens. The big purple against the big green. A lot of intensity there. There'll be competition for bragging rights.
2nd and 10, Pagel. And Pagel throws a strike for the first down, complete to Jeff Chadwick. Pagel showing an awful lot of confidence coming on as a veteran, moving the offense. A 20-yard pass play. Ball is spotted at the 35 of the Vikings. Out of the shotgun, Pagel. Complete to Ellert for a second first down. This one inside the 15. Carl Lee, the defender. A 23-yard pass play.
You've got to credit this Ram offensive line. Pagel is getting absolutely no pressure at this point. He has time to drop back, look downfield, and find guys open.
Overthrows the intended receiver, Vernon Turner.
JB, we spoke earlier about that 3 points they didn't take. Now, had they taken that 3 points, it would be 31-20. They've moved down the field now. If nothing else would have happened, they would have taken 3. It would be 31-23. They'd be inching back. There's still 5.5 minutes left in the game. Things could have been different.
San Francisco 1st and 10 on the San Francisco 11. Philadelphia has closed to within 6. Good ball game going on down the road, or actually up the road. Incomplete. Jack Del Rio putting the pressure on Mike Pagel. The intended receiver was Flipper Anderson.
It looked as though Jack Del Rio actually might have hit Mike Pagel's arm on the release. Interesting about this is the Vikings don't like to blitz. They don't normally do that. It really says that their defensive line isn't getting there. We've got to put some pressure on this guy because he's picking us apart, so we'll come with a blitz.
Wow, 13-all ball game there, Buffalo and Indianapolis. And, of course, the note on that first game, we showed you San Francisco, Philadelphia. The 49ers win. They become the first team to clinch a playoff spot. Pagel. Interception by the Vikings, Vincey Glenn. Mike Pagel had been moving the Rams so well downfield, but this is what the Vikings defense is known for. The NFC leader in interceptions.
That was Dennis Green. You know, he could see sigh of release. Vincey Glenn with the big play. That time, the Rams had maximum protection. The Vikings did blitz again. They picked them all up, so pressure wasn't the key. See, they're blitzing. Your tight ends are in. It's maximum pro. He had plenty of time. Just didn't see Mr. Glenn come underneath and make the interception. That's what the Vikings are famous for, turnovers.
On the ground, Terry Allen. And now Vincey Glenn will be able to talk comfortably with his fellows in the secondary now that he picked up his first interception of the season.
3 yards on the carry to the 18.
That's Jim Everett looking a little bit down. You know, you can't help but think that he's thinking, you know, we almost got back in this game, that perhaps if I had stayed in or coach hadn't pulled me, whatever the reason he's out, that it might have been different.
Or if that knee hadn't continued to give him problems. We saw the ice pack wrapped around that knee. 4:43 and counting left in the ball game, and the 49ers do in fact become the first team in the NFL to clinch a playoff spot with that victory over the Eagles. Salsbury to Allen. You know, there was one guy, despite the 8-3 record of the Minnesota Vikings, that man there, Denny Green, who indicated the playoffs are not a shoe-in, and he underscored that because of the remaining schedule that the Vikings have. Not an easy road to hoe. And there's Tony Dungy, the architect of the Vikings defense. I tell you, I am certainly one big Tony Dungy fan. He has really done a magnificent job, and they really have been one offensive defense coming into the game today. You see the impressive numbers that Dungy's defense has put together.
Well, they've got 4 straight games with a TD. That's very impressive by your defense. 21 interceptions, 35 sacks, of course, 3rd in the NFC, and they haven't allowed a 300-yard passer or a 100-yard rusher all season. That notwithstanding, Tony Dungy, I'm sure, was biting his fingernails because his guys really in the second half and early in the first quarter haven't played with the level of intensity that he's used to.
And speaking of Tony Dungy, it was so interesting listening to Todd Scott and Carlos Jenkins talk about what a master he is, indicating he can stand around you, be around a group of guys for about an hour, and he can tell you every little habit that they all have.
And he's designed his defense to take advantage of each guy on that defense, his positives and his negatives. He's designed a 1-gap defense. Each guy has 1 gap that is his to possess. Rather than getting 2-gap defenses or complicated defensive schemes, you have 1 assignment. If you do that, we collectively will have a good day, and that's what's been happening.
Rams with 2 timeouts remaining. Minnesota with the full complement of 3. Salsbury throws it complete to Joe Johnson. And we'll see where they spot the ball. And it's enough for a first down. Well, a very successful homecoming for Sean Salsbury, who talked again about a long route coming to his first NFL start, 4 years in the NFL, 2 up in Canada, and said he actually had to argue with his father trying to convince him to go to Canada, saying it would be a good thing, and it's panned out that way.
It's panned out, and he's taken a route from Canada back into the NFL that a lot of other very successful quarterbacks have made. Theismann, I played with him, started in Canada. Warren Moon.
Fumble. Rams indicate they've got it. We'll find out. Looks like the Vikings may have recovered.
You get the feeling that if the Rams really had gotten this fumble, they'd be a little more excited. Players kind of tell by their emotion there, hopping up and down, who's got the ball. Looks like Viking ball.
Fumble recovered by Minnesota. Joe Allen on the carry and the fumble recovery.
3:45 and counting left in the ball game. So we take a look at Terry Allen
That's
dropping
Terry
it.
Allen dropping the ball again. Gets stripped from him. He's thinking, God, not again, but the Vikings do get the ball back.
Allen comes out, Henderson in, 2nd and 9. Play action. Salsbury, incomplete. Intended receiver was Joe Johnson, who took a wicked hit the top of his head, but he's back up. For those of you expecting to see 60 minutes, you're watching the NFL on CBS and the game between the Minnesota Vikings and the Los Angeles Rams. I'm James Brown along with George Stark. Our score, Minnesota on top of the Rams, 31-17 with 3:23 remaining. 60 Minutes will be seen in its entirety immediately following this game, except on the West Coast and the Mountain Time Zone. Terry Allen, despite dropping the ball more times than he would care to, a very strong afternoon. Fake end around. Salsbury throws it to Henderson, who commits the mortal sin of starting to run with the ball before catching it. Well, I mentioned before that Denny Green did not consider the playoffs a shoe-in because of the remaining schedule. What is that remaining schedule, you may ask? Well, he's got some guys who certainly know how to play football coming up. Philadelphia, strong defense. San Francisco, Pittsburgh, at Pittsburgh, and Green Bay is playing well.
And emerging Green Bay. That's why they felt they had to win today, because you never know late in the year who's going to get hot, and he wanted to lock this up as early as possible. Didn't think these Rams would be as tough as they've turned out to be today.
Fourth punt of the afternoon for Harry Newsom. Vernon Turner back at his own 25. Newsom pushes him back to the 19. And I tell you, that quickness of the coverage unit of the Vikings did the job. A 53-yard punt by the NFC's leading punter and only a 6-yard return. Ronnie West on the tackle. And with the Vikings heading toward a victory with only 3:07 remaining, Minnesota will improve to 9-3, maintain the lead over the Green Bay Packers. And again, that cushion needed, according to Denny Green, going into the remaining part of the schedule.
What?
Today's game was produced by George Veras and directed by Craig the Butcher Silver. The associate director was Suzanne Smith, and the broadcast associate Ward Glassmeyer. The coordinating producer of the NFL today was Eric Mann. As Anthony Parker comes up with the interception, third interception of the season for Anthony Parker. There is a flag on the play. Tony Dungy's group continuing to add to its interception total. NFL Today was directed by Duke Struck. The senior producer of the NFL on CBS is Ed Gorin, and thanks to Gary Led and Steve Kleinfeld and Ronnie Fisher. Boy, a long afternoon for Chuck Knox.
Absolutely.
You know what? I'm going to send you down to talk with Chuck later to find out why he decided not to go for the field goal.
I'm not sure I want to talk to Chuck. Chuck is not going to be in the best mood. You know, on that interception by Anthony Parker, it was a tipped ball, and as Todd Scott told us when we talked to him yesterday, that most balls that are intercepted in this league are either tips or overthrows.
And you know, I find that interesting because I'm sure most people would think it's breaking in front.
That's right.
Of a receiver to get the ball.
He said that if you break in front of a receiver or assume you can break in front of a receiver, that you're going to get beat. That they're going to pump fake, you're going to come up, and they're going to go over the top. You know, it'll be a touchdown against you. What you want to do is let them catch the ball in front of you and be in a position to catch the tip or the overthrow. Good example there.
To Steve Jordan, incomplete. And Steve Jordan, knowing that the hit was coming, had 3 Rams around him, including Anthony Q. Newman.
Anthony Q. Newman. Now, how did he get that name Q, JB? We've worked that into the game.
I love it. Anthony Q. Newman. As a matter of fact, he said his father, an excellent pool shark, wanted to play at the famous pool hall in Chicago called the Q.
The Q. And he wanted to, guess right, that's exactly right. He wanted his son to be a pool shark, and so he gave him his middle name, Q, Anthony Q. Newman.
Said his father still plays a lot of pool up in the Pacific Northwest. This is Henderson on the carry. .240 and counting as Minnesota grinding out the clock and grinding out the action up in New York. Greg Gumbel.
All right, JB, it's over at San Francisco. The Eagles with 4th and 15 in 49er territory. Half a minute to play. The pass to Fred Barnett comes up about a third of a yard shy. 49ers take over and hold on and clinch a playoff berth, 20-14, James.
All right, Greg. Boy, Gumbel's got some great eyes all the way from New York, huh? A third of a yard short. That's pretty good. Well, we're at the 2-minute mark here, Greg. 31-17, Minnesota on top of the Rams. We'll come back with the final 2 minutes after this.
You've now seen almost 4 quarters of football with about 14 car commercials. But you never heard anyone say that their car was J.D. Power & Associates' best model in initial quality in this price class. That 95% of all models sold in the last 10 years were still on the road. And that it had an airbag. That's because only one car can say all that. It's your money.
Here I am, a pillar of the community. And I love Kellogg's Frosted Flakes.
Brave adults challenge the notion that Frosted Flakes is just a kid's cereal.
In business meetings, I look around and wonder, am I the only one?
Those sweet, crunchy flakes and a splash of cold milk. What could an adult like better for breakfast?
I'm crazy about the taste. Hey, I got nothing to hide.
It's easy to see. Frosted Flakes have the taste adults have grown to love. They're great!
It is the first experience of real life. Never again will she be less concerned with fashion or more concerned with comfort. In her own small way, she's learning that the happiest moments in life are spent in comfortable clothes, which is why we will cross her path many, many more times. Fruit of the Loom. Clothes for the best of your life.
Well, I tell you, whenever the visiting team does well, you'll see them pull out the signs in the stadium like that. Anaheim, Rams territory, but Vikings fans everywhere as they pull out the signs.
We were down before the game, standing at that end of the end zone, and in addition to having their signs, they were urging the Vikings to practice the duck walk. As a matter of fact, our director, Das Butcher, was down there sort of doing the duck walk in imitation.
Steve Jordan has the first down. Oh, it's Das Butcher, huh? Okay, all righty. Sean Salsbury went to dinner last night with the guy he played with at USC. One of his tackles, Mr. Lamb, O-Lamb, and also Larry Stewart, a good friend of his who writes for the LA Times, and they said he was remarkably calm. He was looking so much forward to getting out here today and showing folks that, hey, not only back in the high school years could I do it, I can do it now. I wanted this opportunity, and boy, did he capitalize
He's
on
done
it.
very well. Given an opportunity, it's nice to see someone step up to bat and do well, and he's certainly done that today. It's safe to say he's got the quarterback job. It's not going to make Rich Gannon happy, but Dennis Green says that in his system, the best man at the job will play, and that the backups have no less status than those that are playing, that he owes it to everybody to be treated equally, and everybody will have an opportunity, and it's what you do with your opportunity. And that's Mr. Gannon right there, who, you know, it's mixed emotions. You want the guy out there to do well because you want your team to win. On the other hand, you'd like to have the job back. And, you know, and Dennis Green is happy today, and Sean Salisbury's did a good job.
Denny Green defending his no-nonsense managerial approach to things, saying, hey, in a turnaround situation with a new staff, we've got to say what we mean and mean what we say. And in fact, Salsbury deserved the starting opportunity, came in relief in 3 games, all victories. He said, I want to give him a shot today, and he, in fact, has jump-started the Minnesota Vikings offense to the tune of 31 points on the board, 31-17. Denny Green and the Vikings up in Chuck Knox's Rams. And we'll be back with more from Anaheim Stadium after this.
Stars, and you'll find
It's McDonald's Holiday Film Festival, now featuring the American epic Dances with Wolves. The original full-length video unbelievably priced at just $7.99 when you buy any large sandwich. So hurry in and pick up Dances with Wolves. Also available, the family favorite Babes in Toyland and the hilarious Dirty Rotten Scoundrels. These films just $5.99 each when you buy any large sandwich. What you want is what you get at McDonald's today.
So for George Stark, this is James Brown saying so long from Anaheim Stadium with a final score, Minnesota 31, the Rams 17. You've been watching CBS Sports coverage of the National Football League.